Hello, hello, hello. As you can tell, I'm in a bit of a chipper mood because Pakistan have just beaten South Africa by 28 runs, and it was an absolutely, I want to say it was a super exciting match. It was up and down, let's be honest, but I'm going to just start off with the positives. Pakistan have won. It's the first time that we've won in South Africa for a few years now. I remember us winning in 2013, the ODI series, but it's been a few years, and it's just good for us to get a win over the so-called centre countries, South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia, because subcontinent teams historically have not had great records against them. Pakistan still have not won the series in Australia, Test series anyway in Australia. Okay, let's go straight into this because you know what? It's just great. It's a sweet moment as a Pakistan fan, a very sweet moment. And before anyone says it, I'm going to completely shut down. Yes, it was a weakened side. We still beat the strongest side in the first ODI. And the second ODI, we nearly beat them then as well. And I'll tell you what, I think we would have won today. With that 320, I think we would have won today because some of the guys that came in, Janneman Malan and Verreynne, who came in, they performed really well. And I don't think they actually missed, well, batting wise anyway, they're being on too much. Bowling wise, yes, and we'll go into that. Player of the match to Babar Azam, although I think Fakhar Zaman could have got it as well. He was a really, oh man, he was just so good. Once again, Fakhar Zaman, just so good. Back to back hundreds. He just looked phenomenal once again, and so good to see him back in form. Right, let's start off because I've gone on and I haven't stuck to what I'm supposed to be doing. So let's go straight into this. Right, South Africa elected to field first, which seems to be the what people nowadays just want to do is field first and then chase a score, and they back themselves to chase whatever total they need to, which is quite interesting, I think, because I think back in the day there was a lot of pressure on having to chase scores. Nowadays, not so much. Right, so going into this, as I said, it was one apiece. Pakistan, quite a few changes actually. No Danish Aziz, no Asif Ali, and also no Mohammad Hasnain. In came Safraz, in came Mohammad Nawaz, and in came Hassan Ali. In addition to that, in came Usman Qadir because Shadab Khan, another notable omission because he'd injured his toe after getting destroyed really by 151 kilometers per hour toe crusher. Didn't get out to it, but let's just say he was in a lot of pain, and he actually won't be playing a T20 series as well, which is a bit of a shame because I think he's been lacking some cricket. He's been injured quite a bit recently, and it's just meant his form has dwindled. Anyways, on to the Pakistan innings. Imam Ul-Haq and Fakhar Zaman opening up. And by the way, if you're watching this as a Pakistan fan or as a neutral, I want to point this out because it's not very often that Pakistan can boast two openers with the records they've got. Imam Ul-Haq averages 52. Fakhar Zaman averages 48. We've got two openers here, right, for Pakistan that average. I mean, I think any team in the world would be happy to have two openers who average that. Babar Azam averages 56. Again, any team would be happy to have him. The top three of Pakistan, sorted. I'll go into this in more depth in my ODI series review with the cricket connoisseur as well, because he should be coming on to do it with me. Fingers crossed. And all going well. But even if, it's just me, doesn't matter. I'm going to go over that because I think that's really vital. And once again, the top three didn't disappoint. I mean, it was just a fantastic start. 112 was the first wicket partnership between Imam Ul-Haq and Fakhar Zaman. Unbelievable stuff from both of them, going at about fives. And Imam Ul-Haq eventually getting out to Maharaj, who was the biggest thorn, really, in Pakistan's side, which was, I would say, surprising, but it's not. Um, he's been very good, especially in the Test series in Pakistan. He was good as well. And here again in the white ball stuff, he came in for Shamsi and he did a pretty damn good job. The biggest surprise, I think, from a South African point of view, is that they opened up with Aiden Markram. Now, you might think, what are they doing because he's a part-time spinner? Well, he opened up because we had two lefties. And I think in the last ODI, They were very tentative against Aiden Markram. They shouldn't have been because he's a part-time spinner. Again, here, to be honest, they were quite tentative as well. He actually ended up picking up 2 wickets. Can you believe it? 2 wickets, Aiden Markram. He bowled 10 overs for 48. He even got bowled out. Crazy to think about. And an economy of 4.8. I'm just stunned. That's all I'm going to say. Watching it, I couldn't believe it. Yes, he was quite accurate, but he's like Joe Root. And no offense to these guys, but they are part-time spinners. And I think Pakistan probably again didn't cash in as well. Yes, it was accurate, but for me, probably not as good, not good enough. I think from a Pakistan point of view, but it doesn't matter because we then cashed in on some other bowlers, and they took a liking to Sapamla, especially. He went for 8s, and Brian Hendricks actually didn't bowl too badly today. He went for 5.42. But those 2 openers, Imam Ul-Haq went for 57 off 73, a strike rate of 78, and yes, only 3 fours. But what's he so good at doing? He's so good at rotating the strike. Well, he's becoming better anyway, because that's what his whole foundation of his game is built on: singles and twos, and he definitely is improving in that and needs to continue to do so. Yes, the strike rate was maybe a little bit below what was expected, but Fakhar Zaman was picking up the slack, and I think that's what makes them complement each other so well. There's been talks I've heard from people saying about having a bigger hitter at the top, but I think when you're Pakistan, you're prone to collapses. You need that anchor, and he's that. Babar Azam then came in and he put on another fantastic partnership with Fakhar Zaman. They put on a 94-run partnership off only 14 overs. Now, this dismissal from Fakhar Zaman is one of the most Pakistani and frustrating dismissals you will ever see. Brought up his 100, and can I just say, he looked in some really, really good touch. Yes, early doors he was going pretty slowly. He looked a bit bogged down. The surface and the pitch looked quite slow early doors. Like it was stopping. It was true, but it was stopping. It wasn't coming onto the bat nicely like it was in the Wanderers. Here in Super Sports Park, it was just in Centurion. It wasn't as batter friendly, I would say personally, especially in that first innings. But Fakhar Zaman then got to grips with the surface and just started finding his timing. And when he times the ball, it's just impossible to keep him down. And he just started teeing off, and it was really, really tough for the South Africans. He got past 100, and you're just thinking, here we go. The fire was going to start. He was just under 100 strike rate, and you're thinking, he's got 3 sixes, he's going to double that. He's going to go big again. Maharaj bowls a pretty decent delivery, sliding into him, and the umpire gives the LBW. They go upstairs, review it. It's missing leg stump. Next ball, he goes to paddle this over. I mean, just over his shoulder. It's just a crazy shot to play after what just happened, and he ricochets the ball off his shoulder and loops straight into Clarkson's gloves. Really easy catch. Maharaj is just like, great, I can't believe my luck. And Fakhar Zaman is absolutely fuming with himself, and rightly so, because I could have seen him go really big. But look, nevertheless, even it was a fantastic knock. It really was. Another 100 for him back to back. And I'm really hoping this is now the start of him just continually getting good scores, consistent scores. And, we're not going to see another bad patch of form for a bit of time, especially leading up to that 2023 World Cup. I know it's in 2 years' time, but ODIs, I think, is his sweet spot. He's similar to someone like Shikhar Dhawan, if you want a good example in terms of the way he plays and also his ability. He's got that similarity, I would say, personally. And I'm not talking about ability, I'm just talking about the way they play. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him continue in this vein, because if he does, he'll be fantastic to watch. Now, Babar Azam, he was very good as well. But before I go on to him, Mohammad Rizwan just hasn't had a particularly good series. And unfortunately, that bad form just carried into this. Went to sweep even, not sleep. He went to sweep Maharaj, and his foot just wasn't grounded inside the crease. Just schoolboy error. Good stumpman work. Good wicketkeeper. What am I talking about? Good glovesman work even from Clarkson, and good keeping, taking the stumps off very quickly. And Mohammad Rizwan, his foot was just not behind the line, and it was just really poor. He had to go for 2 off 7, and you're just thinking, I'm thinking to myself, 4's probably a bit too high for him, but what we're going to do, we don't have Haris Sahel there, so fine, but unfortunately just not in form. So Fraz then, he came in, looked quite good whilst he was in, 13 off 13 for him. couple of nice sweep shots as well. But then he had to go after a very, very tame dismissal, just pushing it back to John Smuts after trying to make room for himself to hit over extra cover. And he was just reaching for it, and it just tamely went into John Smuts' hands, and he had to go for 13. And that was disappointing because unfortunately we had a just a run of wickets fall consistently. We were 214 for 3 and we fell to 257 for 6. But soon after, Fahim Ashraf did exactly the same thing as Safraz. He hit Markram straight back at him, hit the ball straight back at him even. Poor and bowled, just really poor. Mohammad Nawaz, it was good catch, sharp catch from Bavuma, but again, it's Markram and he hits it straight to the man at cover in Bavuma. Really poor. Fahim and Mohammad Nawaz going for 1 and 4 respectively. But where it really started to get interesting in the Pakistan innings was Hassan Ali and Babar Azam's partnership. Because at this point, when Pakistan had 257 for 6 or 45 overs, you're thinking we might not even get to 100, to 300 here even, sorry. We're 257 for 6. There's 4 overs left. Can we get to 300? It's going to be tough. We're going to have to really go out and go big. And Hassan Ali went damn big. 32 off 11 for him. 1-4, 4-6. Strike rate of 290. He absolutely destroyed John Smuts in one of the overs. He hit him for like 4 sixes. I think he went for 27 in that over. Unbelievable stuff from Hassan Ali. Some huge daddy sixes. And Babar Azam joined in the action, to be honest with you. And in the last over, he had 10 off the last 2 balls. He was spanking Phehlukwayo everywhere. I think he hit him for 2 sixes. And then he hit him for a 4. He needed 1 more 6 off the last ball to get to his 100. He went for it unselfishly, not because he wanted to hit his 100, probably because he did want to hit his 100, but because we needed runs as well. And got caught. Doesn't matter. 320 for 7 is where we ended up. He had to go for 94 off 82. And do I really need to say much more about Babar Azam? He's a class act. 7 fours, 3 sixes, a strike rate of 114, and he stood up when we needed to, as he pretty much always does for the most part, to be honest with you. And I just can't wait to see him. I just can't wait to see him in all formats, just continue in this form. And I really hope he does. Unfortunately, he didn't get 100, but that happens. You got to play for your team, and he did. On the bowling front, Sipam, as I said, was expensive. Phehlukwayo, very expensive. He actually only bowled 4 overs. He went for 9.25. What was really surprising is that South Africa used 9 out of the 10 overs went to spin. Maharaj, Smuts, and Markram. Maharaj got bowled out. He was the pick of the bowlers. 10 overs, 3 wickets, 4.5 economy. Dupavillon had a bit of pace about him, but he was kind of thereabouts. I mean, not really anything special in my eyes. John Smuts is expensive because of that 27 over, and he went for economy of 8.37. He ended up bowling 8. Now, 320 for 7. I'm thinking to myself, Pakistan are in the driving seat here. And really, they should win this. Right. Go on to the South African innings, and Janneman Malan and Aiden Markram. I know how good Janneman Malan is. I've seen him in T20s. I've seen him in other matches. I know he scored 100 against Australia. In Australia, I think it was as well. And he is no slouch. Aiden Markram, we know how dangerous he could be as well. And they started off in fantastic vein, just hitting the ball so cleanly. Aiden Markram pulled Hassan Ali for 4 and then 6, just tore him apart. And I was thinking to myself, oh no, because we need a wicket and we need to nick it. We need a wicket even fast. And we got it. We got that wicket because it was Shaheen Afridi who got a bit of tap at the start. He ended up getting an inside edge onto the pads behind to the keeper off Aiden Markram. He had to go 18 off 21. And it's funny because I genuinely think in ODIs, in test matches, he's quality. He's so good. In ODIs, he looks really good. But he's got this James Vince aura about him, which is I'm going to look really good for 15 to 30 runs, and then I'm going to get out. And I think they said the commentators he just needs one big innings to just push past that. I agree. But he's not there yet, and he's still in that James Vince mode. No offense, James Vince. But I think his record suggests that that's the case. And he averages, I think, 28, 29. Aiden Markram, he looked like the average. And I'm just being honest. And he is a lot better player than that. I'm sure we will see him get some big scores in ODIs and go on. And I'm sure his average will get better. But at the moment, he's just in this kind of strange little limbo and he needs to push out of it. On the other hand, Janneman Malan was absolutely clinical in his batting, and he formed a 50-run partnership with Aidan Markram. When Aidan Markram went, it was 54 for 1 off 8.6 overs, or sorry, off 9 overs. And John Smart came in. He looked pretty good whilst within 17 off 18 for him, but he had to go because Usman Ghadir got in with an absolute beauty. Just bowled a couple of leggies to him. Here we go. Go on, eat that up. And the next thing you know, flipper, a quicker, a straight on, also a bit of drift in as well. And John Smart's got absolutely cleaned up. Went off the back foot, wrong choice. Got absolutely bamboozled. And John Smart's was gone. Right. In addition to that, we had our own left arm spinner in Mohammad Nawaz. Now, Maharaj and John Smarts had done quite a bit of damage to the Pakistani batting lineup, right? And I was thinking, what? Pakistan can't play spin? Well, I'll tell you what, the Pakistan bowlers and spinners at first, they looked they weren't going to do too much. Then it became a case of, you know what, Mohammad Nawaz, this could be a match-winning spell. Janneman Malan, though, before I get on to that, I mean, he put on a 50 partnership with Tema Babuma, and he looked so good. 70 of 81, and he looked like he was a certain for 100. I'm not joking. He just looks so good. His timing, when someone just pushes at the ball, right, and quick hands to the ball, and it just rockets to the fence for 4, you just know this guy's got something about him. He does. I feel like he needs to be in the ODI side. I just don't know where, because when you've got Markram and DeCock, he's not going to get into that opening pair, I don't think. So then where do you put him? And you don't want to play him out of position. I don't know, but either way, he's a class act. He really is. He had to go, though, because Mohammad Nawaz trapped him LBW. A really, really good delivery from Mohammad Nawaz. Just deceived him with the flight around the wicket. And that started a little bit of a collapse, really, for South Africa, because soon after Tema Babuma, only it was what we're talking about a couple of balls later, even. Babuma actually had strained his hamstring, so he was trying to be more aggressive, to be fair to him. But Mohammad Nawaz putting it up there, Tema Babuma trying to work it into the leg side against the spin, gets cleaned up through the gate, trying to advance. He had to go 20 of 23. And then we had Henrik Klaasen. Mohammad Nawaz again trapping him LBW, 4 of 12 for him. And this spell was just fantastic. And South Africa even collapsed from 127 for 3 to 140 for 5. Now that is a Pakistan collapse, to be fair, in the middle order. 127 for 2, even, to 140 for 5. Not great stuff from them. But then there was this huge, unbelievable rebuild of 104 runs between Verreynne and Phehlukwayo. And what a partnership this was. Seriously, I'm not joking. This was an unbelievable partnership. 104, as I said, of 16 overs. It was just beautiful to watch. Verreynne looks such a good talent. At 5, he came in 23 years old, only played 4 ODIs, and he's got very good domestic form. He came in and just carted it everywhere. 62 or 53 for him, 3 4s, 3 6s. An air of just confidence about him. And you know that when someone comes and they've got their collar up, which he did, who else? It's like Ponting has it. Michael Clark used to have it. Kevin Peterson, I think, used to have it. I think Virat Kohli has it. When you've got a youngster come in who puts their collar up like this, okay, you know what? They're probably in business most of the time anyway. And he definitely did. He definitely did. He batted really, really well. In addition to that, Phehlukwayo as well, 54 or 61 for him. He batted really well as well. And I tell you what, those are handy runs, really handy runs at 7. And he was really impressive, I thought, as well. And they formed this partnership, which, to be honest with you, I just thought to myself, they can do it. I think they'd got the run rate. The run rate needed was around 10, just below 10 going into the 40th over. And I was thinking, if these two stay in, they'll win the match. I was adamant that they'd win the match if those two stay in. But luckily for me and for Pakistan supporters, they didn't, because Karl Verreynne holed out to Usman Ghadir at deep mid wicket from Haris Rauf. Haris Rauf, as we know, is very, very useful in the death. He seems to have a knack of getting wickets, not necessarily because of super skillful bowling, if I'm being honest with you, just because he bowls quick into the surface. He bowls the odd cutter as well here and there, which is how Verreynne got out. And it just deceives the batsman. The batsman is trying to go big, especially when you have runs on the board. He's super effective, is Haris Rauf, and he proved it here. Karl Verreynne just holding him out even to deep mid wicket. That was a huge wicket for Pakistan. And from there, I'm just thinking we can do this. And only an over later, Phehlukwayo did exactly the same thing, trying to flick Hassan Ali for 6 over mid wicket. This time, not getting as much as Verreynne even, and it looped straight up in the air. Safraz was safe, pair of hands, took that catch, and he had to go. So both getting, as I said, very good scores, a fantastic partnership. Unfortunately, they had to go. And then we had Keshav Maharaj with Brian Hendricks trying to just tick it along, really. They tried to see if they could get close, but the run rate was creeping up beyond 12, 13, 14, 15. It was just getting really hard for them. And eventually, Brian Hendricks got out pretty soon after, only an over later for 1 off 5. And Keshav Maharaj, 19 off 11, but he got an absolute beauty from Shaheen Afridi, cleaning him up. Yorker, and we got a Yorker again to Pavilion, who 17 off 10, 2 fours, 1 6. He looked like he might do something, but it was 30 needed off the last over, and it just wasn't to be because halfway through that last over, as I said, Shaheen Afridi just cleaned him up. Looking at the stats quickly for Pakistan, Shaheen Afridi, 3 wickets, obviously a couple of those at the death, but useful wickets nonetheless. Economy of 6, pretty good from him. Hassan Ali was quite expensive, and he can be at times. I'll let him off though because he had just come back into the team after being out in the first 2 ODIs, the COVID, and also having the birth of his child. So economy of 7.6 for him. Horace Rolfe, look, I've got to put my hands up because he's proven me wrong at the moment in this series so far. Economy of 5, 2 wickets for him. He was very good, to be honest with you. Usman, he was good. Usman Qadir, 1 wicket, and economy of 5.33, 9 wickets as well. He looked dangerous at times. Yes, a little bit loose at times, but on the whole, he was pretty good, I thought. Mohammad Nawaz, 7 overs, 3 wickets, and a 4.85 economy. He looked very, very good. Pretty loose in the first over, and then he just came back with a bang. Fahim Ashraf, 5 overs, 30 runs, 6 economy for him. He was okay as well. I didn't think he just did his job as he usually does. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there because I'm going to do a proper full review. Sorry, I've gone on a bit longer than I thought I was going to, but I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Please do remember to like this video, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone's support. You're all legends. And please do look out for my ODI series review that should be coming tomorrow, hopefully, or later this. Well, yeah, tomorrow, later in the day, most likely. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.